Hello, we're recording.
All right. Hey.
Hello, welcome to Trek in the Valley, episode 11.
Wow, 11. Here
11,
we are.
here we are. So today is it's October 23rd, 2022. This is actually the day of the first episode being released. So we're recording this just a few hours before the podcast app or whatever actually put the first episode on. So this is all old news for you, the listener, because you listened to it 10 weeks ago at this point. And thank you for listening for 10 weeks. I can't imagine you exist, but if you do, I'm glad. And so, so we're recording this. We took a couple week break while we got ready to release the first 10 episodes. And now we're back and recording in lovely and was kind of overcast Van Nuys, California. I am Adam Ordall Quinnell here with...
I'm Al Hirt here.
My co-host Al. And we're going to talk about Star Trek, the original series, in the valley where we live.
Here we go.
Yes, and this is a big episode. It's probably we're probably gonna end up. It'll be about the same length as a regular episode for you all, but there's a lot to cover because we have gotten to, and I teased this I think last week, the Menagerie part 1 and 2. These are big, important Star Trek episodes because they reuse the footage from the pilot as the flashbacks that they're going to show, which we'll discuss in detail. But also, I think that the Menagerie is an important episode because the idea of like menageries or like a people zoo or whatever, so prevalent in contemporary sci-fi. It's a theme that's referenced in Rick and Morty, Futurama.
Cabin in the Woods, right?
Yeah, Cabin in the Woods, technically a menagerie of monsters.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that has been a big part of sci-fi, and I'm sure that more educated sci-fi people could say, well, yeah, and Star Trek got it from this.
Oh, what is it? Lilo and Stitch. He's 626. He's technically in what is it?
A menagerie.
A menagerie.
Like the glass menagerie, the play. 1 second here. I have to pause this for just a second. All right, we are back. After I don't know why I said that. So edit this out.
Yeah, I'll cut it out.
We'll see. And if we don't, you're not paying for this yet. So fucking whatever. But yeah, we're talking about the Menagerie, episodes 1 and 2. The idea of menageries. Lilo and Stitch is what you were saying from a menagerie.
He's 626.
Yeah. So there's
all those experiments.
There's just lots of, this has influenced sci-fi forever. And it's interesting for it's interesting for us because we actually recorded the pilot for this, like when we were just testing the equipment and shit.
Just trying it out. This is like our pilot, you know.
Pilot, just to make sure that I knew how to press record on GarageBand, basically. And we watched the original pilot of the original, Star Trek, the original series, which was
The Cage.
The Cage.
That's what it was called.
Yes. Which I think Menagerie is a lot classier
better,
than Cage.
Yeah.
And
less literal.
Yeah. And so what they do is they repurpose the footage from The Cage into this. It's really a genius thing. And not only is this important for science fiction, just for making menageries popular in sci-fi, but it's also important for all the contemporary Star Trek stuff that's happening. And I'm not going to spoil anything for anyone or for Al here, who isn't up to speed on all of the discoveries and the what have yous. But Pike's story is an integral part of Star Trek Discovery season 2 or 3, and of course Strange New Worlds. So it's big.
It's really, really clever how they bring it all back though too, because instead of just re-recording or like using footage as like a flashback or like a a mental flashback or someone telling a story, it applies to the actual episode that's going on, which is good.
Great point, Al. Yeah. That's awesome. I hadn't even thought of that. Yeah, it's not just an ingenious use of the old footage because it's purposefully part of the story, as we find, like the fact that they're able to have this footage.
Right.
Because how it starts is the Enterprise is redirected to a starbase because they get a transmission from the starbase that says, "Hey, come here." And the starbase is where Captain Pike is. We find out.
Starbase number 6.
Yeah, so Starbase 6, where Commodore, what's the Commodore's name?
Mendez. Commodore Mendez.
Meets with Commodore Mendez. Now, I'm not trying, it doesn't look like a Mendez,
No.
but yeah. But yeah, so they meet with Commodore Mendez, and Commodore Mendez is like, I didn't fucking request that you, why are you here?
Yeah.
And
they're just confused.
And Kirk is like, well, Spock heard a message from you, and Spock is like the only person that heard the message. And then they find out that it must have something to do with Captain Pike. But they're like, Captain Pike couldn't possibly send this message. And Kirk is like, why not?
Yeah.
Cut to them showing Captain Pike, whose face is all jacked up. So let's talk for a second about I think that the remastered Pike makeup looks fucking awesome.
Oh, you can see exactly what they did, but
looks
it's really
like
good.
It looks like warped wallpaper on his face. Like the remaster of, because we're watching the remastered ones on Paramount Plus, remastered Star Trek the original series, and the color on the blue and the gray, like of the slash on his face, it really popped. And so they say, you know, this guy couldn't have and as most of the people listening to this probably know, Pike communicates by beeping 2 beeps for yes, or no, 1 beep for yes,
2 for no,
2 beeps for no. Because he's in like a wheelchair that covers his whole body except for his head, from his head up.
It's like his shoulders, yeah.
Yeah, his shoulders up. And so he can communicate by beeping twice for yes, or once for yes, twice for no. And so they're like, Pike, did you communicate with them? And he's like, beep, beep. Or no, yeah. So he's like, beep, beep. No, I didn't. And so then...
It's so awkward. They're like, do you want him to be here right now?
Yeah,
and
they're trying to figure that shit out. And Spock is up on the Enterprise doing a goddamn mutiny.
Mm-hmm.
So while all that's happening, Spock is in a little Spock hole, like he's back in like engineering or some shit in the communication array or some shit.
I thought that part was funny.
Yeah, this is great. So Spock has all of the first. Let's talk for a second about something that we haven't spoken about specifically, I don't think, but data tapes.
Yeah, the way he takes over is
so
really
they have
funny.
Data tapes in Star Trek, and it's so awesome because they look like just multicolored wooden squares.
Yeah,
and they're probably plastic or whatever.
They remind me of like floppy disks.
Exactly.
Before floppy disks.
These are data tapes that they always have everything on. And Spock has a stack of these data tapes, and they have little bits of like other people's voices recorded on them. And so he's putting a different tape in for a different thing, and he fakes an emergency Starfleet transmission, the top secret transmission, to reroute to Talos 4. And Talos 4 is where all the Pike stuff went down in the original pilot. Now, so then, like, because Kirk and Bones are talking to Pike.
Right.
They leave to go figure out what the hell's going on with the
Dude, they spent
Commodore.
2 days figuring out whether they even got the message or not initially to
Seemed
land
like a long
on
time,
Starbase 6.
they're on the base.
They're like, well, I didn't send it. Well, let me check my record. Okay, we'll check our records
and then
over here
they have a lady actually
all day. Like
a lady actually investigates it,
Yeah.
and she's like, I looked through the tapes, I didn't find anything. And so Spock contacts the doctor, and he's like, Doctor, there's a medical emergency. You're needed on the ship.
Yeah, that's right.
So then Bones transports back, and we find, and then the Enterprise just takes off, leaving Kirk on the starbase.
Yes.
And Spock says, Bones, you're here because you got to take care of Pike. And then Pike is on the Enterprise.
What the hell is Pike doing here?
So at this point, I just want to get to the court martial basic. So Pike is on the Enterprise. Bones is watching him. Spock says they're on a top secret mission that he can't talk about, and also nobody can communicate with anybody.
Oh, he's really, really confident, the big con man on this, because he like immediately, as soon as he's in the captain's chair, he's like, hey, Kirk gave me complete captain ability. No one can contact, no radio contact, radio silence.
Great mutiny.
I'm just gonna go. Yep.
Spock does a
It's
good
the cleanest
mutiny.
ever.
Good job.
No one
He
dies.
He does a whole mutiny and nobody even knows they're doing the mutiny.
It's like 15
because he's got
minutes.
these data tapes.
Exactly.
Yeah, we truncated it because we have a lot to cover here, but there's a lot of Spock putting data tapes in and mimicking people's voices.
Right. So then, but they're leaving right in the Enterprise, and then what? Kirk and the
Commodore catch up in a shuttle. So
they're catching up.
But yeah,
unquote.
we find out later that it's all bullshit. But yeah, so then Kirk and the Commodore are in this shuttle, and they're not able to.
Their conflict of interest. This is what happened. So the Enterprise is ahead, and the shuttle that they have doesn't have enough power to physically get to them. And then they're past the point of no return, so where they can't turn around and go back. That should have been the first thing that triggered us off, and that the Commodore wasn't actually there. Because then there's no way that he would have just let him keep going if he needed to be back at the starbase, right?
Yeah,
I felt like that was weird. But anyways, so then Spock feels bad and then turns around and picks him up, and then they end up in the ship.
And that's when
the whole trial starts, right?
But yeah, and that's when Spock turns himself in.
Yeah, and then that's the other weird twist.
This is a great scene. So
There's so much that happens.
So Kirk and the Commodore are like, "Hey, we're not gonna have enough power. We're just gonna sit here and die when our life support runs out."
They have 2 hours of oxygen left.
Yeah, and then Spock turns around and picks them up, and then Spock when they go pick him up, they lock on with a tractor beam and they beam the commandant or Commodore like the Commodore 64. I should remember that, or the Commodores. They beam the Commodore and Kirk to the ship, and Spock turns to Bones on the bridge and he goes, "Hey, you got to arrest me for mutiny and treason and being an asshole." And Bones is like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And he's like, "Nah, you got to arrest me. I did all this stuff. The captain didn't know any of this," because he tricked Bones to some degree too by saying the captain is under medical arrest, as demanded by Starfleet. But Bones is like, "I'm his doctor. I would probably know something about that." So then it's like, bum bum bum. Spock pleads guilty to a crime while he's being arrested. You should never do that. Yeah. He's really got it. You don't plead guilty to the cops that show up. You don't go, "Yes, officer, I plead guilty." Shit. Look, not to jump all the way back, but I have 2 things that I forgot to do.
Oh, yeah.
The Chekhov check-in is the most important one. 18 episodes from now till we get to Chekhov. 18. And also the synopsis from Paramount Plus for this episode we've been talking about, because we haven't gotten to the second episode yet. It's Spock hijacks the Enterprise to return an injured Captain Pike to Talos. So this is where the story gets good, because they're going to do a court-martial on the ship. And they're actually doing a preliminary court-martial. Yeah, because they don't have enough people.
I was like, "Where's the courtroom on the Enterprise?" Well, they're just in a conference room.
Yeah, I'm going to turn on the fan here.
Oh yeah,
it's very hot. Have it on. So they're going to have a court-martial in a conference room, essentially.
Basically, yeah, it's like what
pre-court-martial,
right? It's Kirk, the Commodore,
and Spock,
a security guy.
Yeah, maybe a security guy at the door, and Spock, right?
Right, that's basically.
And Pike is around too, but he's just the beeping yes or no, and that becomes important because Spock says, "Hey, I don't want this to be a pre-whatever the fuck." Spock says, "I want to do the real ass court-martial right now. I'm guilty. So find me guilty, motherfuckers." They're like, "We can't. We've only got 2 command level people, and we need 3." And he's like, "Pike can do it." And Pike is like, beep, motherfucker. Wait, no, beep.
Just the beep.
Beep. One time, motherfucker. Yes, I can. So now, then this is where shit gets trippy. Because Spock says, "Here, look at I'm going to take command of the view screen." And then the view screen starts playing footage from the pilot of Pike's original visit to Talos 4 with the Enterprise. And everybody's fucking mind is blown.
Yeah.
Like Kirk is like, "Holy shit. How do you have this?" They don't want to say video, but they're like, how do you have this? No. And he asks Pike, he goes, "Pike, did you take these tapes? Is this your detailed records, visual records?" And Pike's like, "Beep, beep. No, it's not."
There's no way they even had visual records. I feel like
yeah, they didn't have little drones floating around.
Dude, it's so
like they do in The Expanse.
And just in the context of the Talosians, they can just do that mentally anyways, right? Because they're just unheard of in their abilities.
Yeah.
And they just use footage from the show. It's just all very smart. Worked
So,
out.
so they're like, "How the fuck are you doing this?" And Spock is like, "I can't tell you yet.
Yeah. Oh,
We
yeah.
gotta,
That's
you
right.
gotta just trust
Just
me.
watch.
You gotta just watch this fucking shit that we filmed months ago." And so then they're doing the court martial and they're watching the footage of the pilot.
Pretty much
That's pretty much
the
it.
episode, yeah.
And what's interesting and kind of trippy is at one point they're watching Pike go through and his crew, because the whole story of what happens on, because now I don't want to do a synopsis of the show within the show.
Dude, it gets crazy.
Pike's Enterprise gets routed with a distress call to Talos 4. They find this colony of people there, but the colony of people isn't really there. It's these weird penis-headed aliens with like very veiny penis-looking heads that use
pulse.
telepathy, and their heads pulse, and they can make you see whatever they want. So they trick Pike and capture him for their menagerie, and they want to get him to mate with another human that they have. Basically, that's the whole deal. And
Right.
And Pike's and so they're watching this happen. And what's interesting is, so they're watching it on a view screen on the Enterprise, right? And then at one point, that pulls back, and it's the Telosians watching Pike on a view screen. And I love that view screen effect on the remastered, by the way. Like when the Telosians are watching, it looks like a Hanna-Barbera like bumper from like your Hanna-Barbera morning cartoons. Like the screen in the middle is showing you the ad for the next cartoon playing, and the outside is like a design for the Hanna-Barbera stuff. I love it. And so at one point you're watching Spock, Kirk, the commander, the Commodore, and Pike watching the Telosians watching Pike in the past, and it's great.
Trippy, yeah.
Oh, and we should have mentioned the reason Pike was disfigured and paralyzed,
that's right.
paraplegic, is because he was saving these kids on a starbase that was exploding, and he got exposed to delta rays, and that's what gave him his problem. That's what happened to him, and that's important.
Yeah, delta ray.
That's important for Strange New World.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's because so it's not a huge spoiler, and you already know this because you watched the first episode. If you haven't seen Strange New Worlds or Discovery, just shut your ears for like a minute. But
spoilers.
Yeah, so Pike finds out all about how he's going to die in Discovery, Star Trek Discovery. So he knows that in 10 years or whatever, he's going to try and save those kids, and it's gonna make him in the state that he's in the original series.
Okay.
So he's dealing with having that future knowledge and how that affects his decisions, and does it change the decisions that he's going to make? And very good stuff.
Okay.
All of that. And what I love about this shit is all of those seeds were planted, because these episodes aired in November 1966.
Yeah.
So all of those seeds were planted 60 years ago. It's just really cool how the new Star Trek stuff is
like actually taking advantage of it.
Yeah, and I think they're doing it more so than the original J.J. Abrams movies did. You know, the original J.J. Abrams movies, I like them.
But they're 100% a cop-out, you know? It's like, this is an alternate universe, therefore. It's like, okay.
And so
that's pretty good.
And I like it.
That's clever.
And I like that the original Spock traveled between those universes or those timelines and exists in the J.J. Abrams. Like, I thought that was ingenious, but I also like how they're going back with the new TV shows and mining thematically more of the stuff from the original series.
Well, yeah, that's what makes it so solid. That's why people still watch it, you know? Because it's like, even we talked for a very long time about the first episode and the cage and like what this meant, and like how people don't like committing to being slaves, and how they want to break out, and how using anger is a strong way to like go against the suppressors and stuff. And that's all happening within this episode with the court martial.
Yes, within the framework of the court martial. So then we find out that, in Pike's story, he is, of course, the Enterprise in Pike's story is trying to break in to where they're holding him, and they can't. There's even a great sequence where they have this huge cannon.
Laser, yeah.
They make a huge laser and they transfer all the power from the Enterprise to it to try and blast open these elevator doors, and they just can't do it. That's a great sequence because
That's a really good
number
scene.
one is like, give me more power. It's great. She's number one and Scotty at the same time. I love it. And so and while that's happening, Pike is trying to, they're fucking with his head and they're trying to get him to mate with this other human that they have there that's been trapped there for a while, and they're kind of shady. Like, they don't really explain where she's from or what she's got going on.
Extremely shady.
Till the end. Which explains obviously why. But so at around this point, that's when Pike learns that if he fills his head with anger, the Telosians can't read his mind. So he uses that to get his hands on one of them, and he finds out that they're like, he actually, like, when he uses the phaser, it really does blast the glass.
He catches onto their gambit, right?
Yeah, he figures out what they're doing, but there's a couple levels of their deception, right? Because they have the cage that he's in where they're deceiving him, but then they also put him in these memories. Like, one of the ways they try to fuck with him is they make him relive an event that he had on Rigel 7 where he fought this, like, barbaric looking alien monster. Some great shit in it.
Oh, really good sets.
He throws great set, great makeup. At one point, he throws like an obviously foam sword or whatever into the alien's back. He's saving this woman who's being played by the woman from the cage, and they're basically trying to put him in circumstances where they're gonna hump.
Right.
And
they're
it's not subtle.
Excited.
They're not subtle about it. No. And at around this point in the court martial, this is when we learn. Is this when we learn that the Telosians are sending the imagery?
Yeah, I think at some point.
By the end of the first part, it turns out that the Telosians are actually the ones who are sending this imagery.
That's where they end the episode, right?
Yeah, because you communicate with, so the Federation people can't communicate with Talos 4. It's like a death sentence if you do. It's ultimate extra double super treason.
Well, it's because I'm sure they wrote it down and they read the story or the report, and they're like, you know what? No one's ever going to come here.
Yeah, they know whatever Pike told them.
Exactly.
Whatever went in the so they know it's dangerous. So they're just without getting into the details, because they know how tempting that technology would be, how tempting that science would be. So the Federation is just like, don't fuck with this planet. But because they were getting the signal from the Telosians, and so the episode breaks with them saying, not only have you committed yourself to death, but everything that happens on the ship is under Captain Kirk's purview, so he's going to get his career all torpedoed.
Jeez.
All for what? Because why do you want to bring Pike back? What is going on? And he's like, you'll know when they tell you the rest of it. And then it's like, this is the cool thing. It doesn't say to be continued. It says to be concluded at the end of the first episode. So just a couple of things. I just want to go through here and see if there's anything I missed. They figured out the Vulcan neck pinch.
Oh, yeah.
This
that's
is like
the second
or third Vulcan neck pinch, and it looks good. Like, they figured out what it looks like. Mrs. Piper is somebody who's investigating, and she immediately starts pointing her finger at Spock. Like, Spock's obviously fucking lying to you. What are you doing?
Oh, I know. It's
and
genius.
Kirk and them are like, no, he's not. And then, yeah, he is. He totally is.
Even Bones brings it up too.
One thing that and Bones as well is like, that sounds like Spock full of shit. But one thing that I thought was interesting was, why don't they use Morse code for the beeping instead of like 2 beeps for yes, 2 beeps for no? Morse code exists in the future. Well, they've mentioned it. There's a hilarious Spock fight because he is doing the tapes and a security guard finds him and he beats him up.
It's funny because it's like, yeah, he should have initially just done the nerve pinch, but then I think they wanted to have some combat in there, but they weren't going to choreograph a whole fight, but they didn't want to hurt each other either. So it was just kind of like they were tussling. Yeah. And then like Spock grabs the guy by the hips and just like chucks him to the side.
Basically like they're dancers. Yeah. It's like they're doing a dance, like they're taught like a ballet. They're tossing each other around. It's great. And the couple things I want to mention about the footage from the pilot. Spock's makeup looks insane. His eyebrows are insane.
It's the eyebrows,
and they should have. I wish they would have done a joke about that or mentioned like, Spock, man, you looked fucking insane back then, dude. And also there's a time when they're on that planet of the Telosians and before they meet the meet everybody and shit goes sideways, and there's like a singing plant. And there's a
that is a
great
cool
shot
part.
of Spock touching this singing plant, and he like smiles like a dumbass.
Yeah, he's so
Like you never
happy.
see Spock smile like that because
No.
that's the pilot. It's before they figured out his whole fucking deal.
Yeah, his personality.
Oh, and we wrapped it up great. Yeah, I'm looking at my notes. They find out that the transmissions are from Talos. That's
Okay,
the death penalty, and there you go.
okay,
To
cool.
be concluded.
This is
And-
when it gets really crazy though, because you were like, this recap is so bizarre.
Yeah, and then they come back after the break. So this would be a week later. Everybody's in suspense.
That's right.
Is Spock going to get executed in Kirk because they don't have the internet?
That's right. No, and
They
then
don't
also
know.
they're experiencing the pilot. Technically,
They don't know
for the
anything
first
about
time.
the fact that it's the
Yeah.
pilot. For all they know, this is
For all
all
they-
shot for this.
Exactly.
They don't know
Yeah.
the biz.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool though.
So, and I don't even know if TV Guide was around to
No
explain
way.
that shit.
Well, it was just see, that's why it was more exciting for me to see Spock pull off this clean mutiny, because like we were already familiar with the original episode, but still, it does contribute to like why he brought him out there and all that, as we see in the end.
So here's yes,
Spock's part was cool.
yes, love it. And here's where at the beginning of the episode part 2, this is where we find out about the Telosians and their little fucked up penis head brains,
Right.
and what that's all about. So Pike finds out from the lady who's also trapped there with him that they're trying to get him to breed with. Gross. He finds out that the Telosians became addicted to their dreams and like experiencing other thoughts of other beings and other beings' dreams and fantasies and shit, right?
Right.
And they became so addicted to it that they basically let everything else go to shit. And they had to move underground because they didn't know how to upkeep the technology of their ancestors that like kept everything livable above ground. So now they're just like and that's why they have this menagerie, right? Because they're addicted to feeling the emotions and fantasies of other
creatures,
races.
other races.
Yeah. And Pike is like, do they feel with me too? He's like, if I have sex with you, are they going to be getting off?
Feeling, yeah.
Yeah, there's a great
It's
sequence
weird.
where
Weird.
if you understand that they're explicitly talking about fucking, it's like, ugh, are you going to be fucking her through my brain, you creeps? You fucking creeps. That's how it would be in the new one, because they can swear. Because they say shit on Strange New World.
That's funny.
So they get so in the flashbacks on the screen. So they're gonna continue. Oh, so the Commodore is like, Spock, you motherfucker, you're gonna get the death penalty. Turn this ship around. Give us control of the ship.
Yeah, they're
and
just
Spock's
listing,
like, no,
yeah.
I'm not gonna give you control. I'm still
As the
not
episode goes on.
I'm still not giving you control of the fucking ship. That's my whole deal. Is I'm not gonna do that shit. And so then they continue the court martial,
right?
Or they continue
they
watching
just watch
the
transmission.
At this point, it's not even a court martial. They're just watching the shit.
And at one point, the feed goes down, and they're like more worried about like what's going on with the Telosians.
Yeah,
and then it comes back on, and they're like, "Oh, okay, perfect."
Oh, and that's the other thing.
Part was
like,
hilarious.
so Pike gets sleepy, and they're gonna take a break.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because the Telosians care about Pike's well-being.
Yeah,
and so they're like, Pike is getting worked up, so we're gonna take a break. And it's basically just them like saying, "We got to go to commercial."
Mm-hmm.
Because when they come back from commercial, it's not like a scene happens during that break.
No, they go right back to it.
They go right back to it. They're like, well, now that you've watched that ad for Tide,
yeah,
or for Sears and Roebuck, let's check in with the Telosian feed, with the feed from Talos 4, everybody, on the big screen. And it's fucked up shit because in the feed from the past, you find out that the Telosians kidnapped 2 of the women from the Enterprise because they're like, Pike, you don't want to fuck this lady that we've got here already.
And then
they tricked number 1, Majel Barrett. I forgot the other person's name. Ensign Ruth.
Sonia Barrow.
I'm looking at the Majel Barrett, number 1. So number one, played by Majel Barrett, gets beamed down, and then the other lady that gets beamed down is not on this list of credits. No. She's a redhead. She looks like Michelle Williams, and so those 2 get beamed down. And the Telosians are basically like, fine, Pike, you don't want to have sex with this lady we already have? We got 2 options from your ship. They're like, this redhead number is smart. and young, and number one here is tough and strong, and you get to pick one of these to have a baby with. And he's like,
That's so gross.
it's so fucking gross. And they decide. So at one point, Spock refers to the women. Oh,
yeah, exactly.
the
That was
women.
line.
What a
We
great
missed that. Yeah.
what a great sequence. So like five people are gonna beam down to the surface to help save Pike, and it's two women and three men,
and the two women disappear.
and the two women disappear, and Spock goes, the women.
He like throws his arms out and is squatting like the women.
It's great. Good acting before he knew how Spock should act. He was making some good choices. So then this is where Pike puts in the past. He puts his theories to use to good measure about how the Telosians work, and he uses his anger to mask his thoughts. And he grabs one, and he gets the Telosians to let them out, and they come out and they see that everything is destroyed, and that's when the Telosians explain, "Hey, look, we just want you guys to mate." And Kirk is like, Pike is like, "We'd rather die than be slaves." And then these other
really? And then he grabs the pistol and twists it, and he's like, "Yes."
Yes. And then the Telosians like, "What the fuck?" And this then these other Telosians come out of the elevator and they're like, "Hey, we finished analyzing the data from their ship, and they're fucking serious, dude.
Yeah.
They'd rather blow themselves up than like be fuck slaves."
And then he receives all the data.
Yeah, the Telosians communicate by telepathy, and you can see the lead Telosian like realizing this ain't gonna work.
That's so fucking funny though.
And there's another big reveal here that the lady she was in a terrible accident when they found her, and they put her back together. The Telosians put her back together all weird.
There's a lot of cursed lines in the episode.
That was Susan Oliver, who played Vina.
Great job.
She was great. And I loved her in the original pilot. She's like a classic Star Trek guest star in the pilot, you know? And it's like her guest performance would shine 30 episodes later.
Yeah,
and she's
exactly.
doing a great
For
job.
Years to come.
Yeah, exactly. So Susan Oliver was very good as Vina. Vina was the woman who the Telosians found her, and she was all disassembled by an accident she was in. They put her back together, but they were using their mental powers to make her look like this beautiful woman. But she's actually a very like disfigured. They put her together wrong kind of thing. She didn't look that bad.
No, but the one line that was like cursed in my head was they didn't really have a guide for human anatomy.
Oh yes, that's classic.
God. Yeah, and she's like, they didn't really put me back together right.
It reminds me of Hellraiser, where like the guy's got an arm coming out of his head and shit.
Yeah. No, but just that one line is like a, terrifying short story,
Exactly.
It's like, oh, that's messed up.
So much good sci-fi shit happens even in the early episodes. So
but the thing I was going to mention earlier though, when the Telosian gets all the information, about the human race, he just turns and he's like, in captivity in particular, you guys really just don't like that, and you would rather die. And he's like, yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah,
that's
what I just told your ass. And so they say, well, you gotta go.
You're too violent.
Yeah, so Pike leaves.
Like, great.
Pike leaves. They leave Vina there, and now we figure out why Spock is bringing Pike back in the present, because it turns out that the fucking Commodore wasn't real since the
reveal since
the first meeting. So the Commodore disappears. This was the Telosians fucking with everybody, and
mainly
using
Kirk.
Spock.
They work with Spock.
So the Telosians and Spock together conspired to get Pike back to the Telosians because they want to let him live like a fan. They want to let him live a good life in a dream state, basically.
I think it's kind of like a nudge of like they helped him out. He helped them out, and they're finally helping him out at the end of his life.
Exactly. It's great. It's a heartwarming plot, and how it all comes together. That the Commodore wasn't even real. They get a broadcast from Starfleet that's like, oh yeah, the Commodore looked over the data from everything that you've been learning about Talos, and considering Pike is such a well-regarded captain, we're just gonna say you can go hang out on Talos 4, drop Pike off. Nobody's gonna be put to death. It's all fine.
Don't worry about the little starship that you sent out there too.
Yeah, everything's cool. You don't have to worry about it. Just do what you got to do. And so they leave Pike there, and the Telosians are like, "Hey, Kirk," and they show that, like, look how happy Pike and Vina are
Yeah,
to
and
stay
they show
there.
the footage of them going back.
Yeah, them going back into the menagerie where they're going to live forever in a fantasy world.
You know what this also reminds me of? Especially that you just phrased it like that now. I don't know if you've seen Black Mirror. I think it won an Emmy this episode. Or, I mean, it should have. Everybody loved it. But it was about these two ladies. They were lesbians. And they saw each other in like different times. So, like, they met in the 80s and they would hook up. And then they met in the 90s and then they would hook up. But then it was all their brain that was like uploaded into this server, and that's where they met, like, or that's where they would see each other after death. I forgot what the episode's
Wow.
called. It's really good though.
I've
It kind of reminds
seen-
me of that.
I watched most of the first season of Black Mirror, I think, and maybe some of the second, but then I kind of dropped off. I like it, but I just didn't watch.
The Americans hit and miss. The British nailed it. But then once we bought it,
Once it went to Netflix directly.
Yeah, it's a hit and miss.
So some other stuff about this episode while you look up the name of that episode of Black Mirror, because we've got the fucking cast from the pilot, right? You get John Hoyt, who played Mr. Smith in Lost in Space. He was the original Doctor in the pilot, and he's great. There's so many good scenes of like Dr. Smith, of Dr. Phil Boyce and Pike.
Right.
Because you know how like Kirk and Bones have their doctor captain relationship, because that's an important person to keep healthy. You know, your relationship with your doctor as the captain in Star Trek world is very important.
Yeah, of course.
So just seeing how they interact and how, you know, when Dr. Phil is Dr. Phil, I don't like that. When Dr. Boyce is trying to get the captain to loosen up, he makes him a martini. And he's like, there's some things you'll tell your bartender that you won't tell your doctor. That doctor has a lot of great lines. And the actors that they have playing the quote unquote refugees or whatever that don't really exist.
Yeah.
They all just look like they stepped off the set of Gunsmoke, or, you know, or some old timey fantasy epic or something, like the day players that they have. Yes.
Yeah.
From the studio lot next door. But there's just so many. See, they credit James Doohan, but he does not turn up. So there's just and Jeffrey Hunter. So Pike is actually played. So the Pike that's in the wheelchair, present Pike is actually played by this guy Sean Kenny, and the Pike with the makeup. And Jeffrey Hunter played the original Captain Pike, and he was a great captain. He would have been great, but the studio went a different way with it. So they shot this pilot, The Cage, and the studio said, and we talked about this a little bit, I think, on the first episode that we recorded after our pilot, that the studio said, you know, it's too serious. We want to go a little bit different way with it. So they commissioned a second pilot that got made, which was actually Where No Man Has Gone Before, that they used as like episode 3 or something.
Yeah, they used it as episode 3. What did they end up using as episode 1?
Oh, the first episode? That was so long ago. I know which one it is in my head too, but the Man Trap.
Man Trap, yeah. With
Classic.
all the crazy different shots and stuff.
Yes.
It's cool because it's like, I'm sure when it went live and all that, everyone was like, whoa, this is crazy. This episode's great. Oh my God, how'd they do that? And it's like that first episode that they premiered was probably like the 4th or the 5th they like filmed.
Yeah.
Where like they already had it down pat, you know.
They do such a good job hitting the ground running with the original Star Trek series.
And with this
that's why it holds up today.
For
right?
Sure. I think the shock too from this episode is one that it uses the pilot really well, and that way they didn't have to waste that footage. And two, just the shock of Spock like pulling off like one of the smoothest mutinies ever.
So good. And I think that this really it's basically a clip show,
Mm-hmm.
and but they do such an innovative. It's like how the Simpsons made a couple good clip shows in the first
Right.
like couple hundred episodes. So they do such a good job of integrating that footage because it isn't just important that it's Pike's story. It's important that Spock was there and Spock has this connection with the Telosians. And it's important that the Telosians are because they want Pike back. They give a shit.
Right.
And that their motivations are so integral to the story and the themes of, how, what is the mind? What is the body? What is the self? Isn't Pike just Pike? Like, if he goes there and he lives in this fantasy world where he has mobility again and he can be with Vina, who looks the way she looks in the fantasy world, isn't that reality at that point?
For him, yeah, at that
Like,
point,
like,
because if you're exerting force and spending time in that other reality, we've
yeah.
talked about that before. Oh yeah, we did talk about that. There was I don't know if you know the game Eve.
No, Eve
Okay,
Online.
yeah, there was like I forgot which program. I don't know. I
Isn't
was
that
doing
like
some
a sexy
computation.
MMO?
Oh
Isn't
no,
that
no,
like
no.
supposed to be
It's
the
not.
sex? I always
There's
thought that
another
was like
one.
the MMO that fucks. Is
No,
that not? That's
I don't
okay.
think so. No, I don't remember the proper title, but it's like a bunch of spaceships, right? And you're in space or whatever. Apparently, on like one server, like one of my professors told me that like one ship shot another ship, and then which shot another ship, which shot another, right? And it just started a war online that lasted for like 3.5 years. Like people spent hundreds of hours and like thousands of dollars, like getting you equipment, getting you ship for stuff to blow up like digitally. And
Wow.
his whole point was like, what makes that like so different than someone spending their time like doing an activity outside of the computer? It's like what for them that was their reality, right? Like they have to focus on their troops or focus on the ships or the galaxies that they have to
Yep,
conquer
they're
or something,
invested.
Exactly. And that kind of goes back to like the whole mental thing. It's like,
Good
who's
point.
to say, Because the whole meta thing is kind of really ass right now.
Well,
And there's so much blowback happening too. Because
yeah.
like it's been time. They
Well,
put thousands or millions of dollars.
The funny thing is, like, so the metaverse, which is a failure.
Oh, for sure.
But the metaverse, it's like people want it to be like Ready Player One, and it's
not
like
there.
The Sims.
Yeah,
like they
it's
expect it
just
to be
not.
Ready Player One, and it's The Sims.
But it's who's to say they'd stay in there all day either,
Yeah. So this was good. This episode worked on so many levels. It's great that they used the original footage. We get to see the original Pike, Spock's crazy eyebrows. We get to see awesome Dr. Smith from Lost in Space doing his turn as Pike's original doctor.
We see the Telosians again too.
The Telosians with their
I guess for
veiny
the first time.
pulsy, their veiny heads that have they have like little air pneumatic pumps in the heads that make the veins work. All of the remaster, all the effects look fucking awesome in the remaster. So we think that I think that it worked out. I've seen these episodes a few times in the last year from when I originally got COVID, watched them a few weeks ago, seeing it now. We watched the pilot for our pilot, and it doesn't feel like it gets old.
Yeah, but I'm like, would it have been better for me to like watch that pilot in this episode? Or would it have been better for me to see the pilot prior, right?
So that's how I saw it. I originally watched, I'm pretty sure I saw the Menagerie parts 1 and 2 first, and then it blew because I saw them years ago, probably, and then it blew my fucking mind to find out that they're from like the actual original pilot that they made. It's
really clever.
Excellent. And the studio is probably like, Thank you for not having to reshoot a bunch of shit.
We got a week off. We save a script,
All right, so that's the Menagerie parts 1 and 2 on Trek in the Valley. Now is where we're going to talk about non-Star Trek related shit, unless we have Star Trek related shit to recommend, which there will be. There's good episodes of Lower Decks and such, but I want to just really quick for my recommendation. Say Andor is awesome. Star Wars Andor. I didn't want to like it. The first 3 episodes are kind of slow going, but after that, it's like just badass. It's like really good Star Wars shit without Jedi and stuff. And I didn't really like Obi-Wan show all that much, and so and now I just realized that I'm recommending Andor to you all 10 weeks after or 6 weeks after it's ended.
Nah,
But
people
it's
will still
a
watch
12
it.
episode thing, so I can't. If you're on the fence about whether or not you should watch Andor, watch it.
Let's go past the first 3 episodes.
Get past the first 3 episodes. You could even just watch the previously on Andor for
True.
episode 4 because they're doing. I read it. It's so dumb. They're like they're using the trilogy pattern where it's trilogies of episodes. Like no, that's not a. You're just saying
What?
trilogy because it's Star Wars.
That doesn't
That's
make
just
any
story
sense
arcs
at all.
that like it's dumb. But so every 3 episodes is like a kind of a story, but it's very good. Andor's good.
You mean like an act?
Yeah, basically,
right?
sort of.
Like,
Yeah, it's
that's so weird how they described it like that.
they just because everything in the Lucasfilm needs to be described in terms of a trilogy. I guess I don't get it. What's your recommendation for this? For if people are listening to this, maybe I don't think that this is still this year. This might be next year. It might be 2023.
I don't know.
What's your recommendation?
Well, I guess let's see. What She-Hulk ended really well. I'm trying to think. Is there any new Halloween stuff I've seen? Nothing crazy.
Did
I
you
saw
watch
these
Halloween
2 movies.
Ends?
No, I've heard a lot about it though. I heard that it was real bad.
I think that it's
Like
either
the
really
newer
bad or
one was-
pretty good.
Really?
Like
I mean,
I think
depends
it's
on your
either
mood.
really bad or pretty good. Yeah. And we're also talking about Halloween stuff in January 2023, but we'll
True.
figure out podcasting. We're
Yes,
working
yeah.
on it.
I'm trying to think what else.
Are you
I could
playing anything?
recommend.
Are you looking forward to any games that are coming out?
I crushed like Super Hot in an afternoon.
What's
Have you played
Super
that?
Hot?
Oh, it's it's kind of like a puzzle / shooter. So you go into a first person kind of view and you're just trying to shoot these red people, but the catch is that it's all bullet time, but time like switches back to real time if you move. So if you stay in one place, everything is just really slow bullet time, but then you can move and like dodge bullets and like grab other things and hit other people.
Is it a third person? Like
No, it's all first person.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's a puzzle in the sense of like, okay, I got to grab this gun, look at this person, shoot this way, grab his gun, shoot at that person that way, all while like moving.
and then you die and you have to start over from the
Exactly.
beginning.
Not from the very beginning, but the beginning of the level.
Yeah, beginning of the level. So you're basically
They're
like
tight. They're tight levels.
yeah,
It's
cool.
a nice hour and a half.
And
It's an
that's
indie
called
game. Super Hot.
Super Hot. What's it look like? What's the style of the design?
I guess it's
anything
like-
you could relate it to.
Like really, what is it? It's like polygons, a lot of polygons. It's a really simple like graphic game. They have it on Meta too, where it's all first person too, which is really cool. But it's really monochromatic. It's all black, white, and then the red enemies are just red, and that's it. And it's
Cool.
just very to the point. Really good
Awesome.
though.
Well, great. So check that out if you haven't. Yeah, so that's it. This was episode 11 of Trek in the Valley. I am Adam Ordal Quinnell.
Oh wait, what's the next episode?
Oh, the next episode is going to be, if you're watching along with us, which we know you are, on Paramount Plus, who does not sponsor the show, The Conscience of the King. Oh, fuck. That
okay.
episode rips, dude. That's
All
the
right.
one with, let me check. It's like, he's Kodos. Isn't it that one? Let me see here.
There's
Yeah,
Hamlet.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yes. So there's like
King
a play within a
Duncan.
play.
Oh, okay.
Anton Caridian, yes, but he's Kodos. Yeah, okay, it's fucking great. Star
Word,
Trek
word,
people
word.
know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
The Conscience of the King. Looking
All right.
forward to it. And you can find out information about Trek in the Valley. I'm working on, I probably already have a Twitter for the show and an email by now,
Okay.
but
for
I
sure.
don't. So just go, it's my Twitter handle is Adam Quinnell, which is just ADAMQUESNELL. So it's twitter.com/Adam Quesnell.
And I'm Al Hirt.
And you can find us online and you'll find out information about the show. Thank you so much for listening
Thank
have a
you.
wonderful rest of your week. You can find out any information about our podcast by following me, Adam, at Adam Quesnell. It's not how you pronounce it, it's how I say it for your benefit. ADAMQUESNELL on Twitter, or at FAQRulesYou at Instagram. Follow. I promote the show. You'll know when and where you can get it on more platforms, so it's on your platform of choice. Thank you so much, and reach out on either of those platforms if you want to tell us anything about the show. Also, I know that we're supposed to say this, like and subscribe, whatever that means. Thanks so much.